What's going on? Welcome to Dynasty Depot, where defense matters. We are everything fantasy football, from offense to defense. I'm your host, Andrew, and this is my co-host, Ryan.
What's up, guys?
Our rookie specialist. And let's just jump right into it. So this is going to be going after week 8 of the NFL season. A lot of stuff happened, a lot of fun, a lot of fantasy stuff happened. My surprise of the week, I'm going to start off straight up. I was at the Packers-Jags game, and you watch these people on TV, and it's one thing, but you watch, I sat right next to Nate, who's in one of our fantasy leagues, and we were watching Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams the whole time until Evan Williams got hurt. But these guys are so special on the defensive side of the ball, how they move, their ball recognition. You don't see it on the TV of them running across the field this way. It is very impressive to see in person. I also was able to see Jordan Love I watched his first snaps in New Orleans against the Saints, and I have a picture with him. This is my first time seeing him as like the tried and true starter. A lot of fun for half of it, and I got to see Malik Willis, which was also a great surprise of the week for me. Not great because Jordan went down. He should be fine though. But being able to see Malik Willis too in person was a lot of fun. But yeah, man, these receivers are quick. They get space. It was Jacksonville, but they make space, and it's actually a lot of fun to watch. And the defense was flying. I'm going to talk about him a little later, foreshadowing. But Edgerton Cooper had an insane 40-yard sprint to break up a pass. It was absolutely insane. This team is fired up. This team is electric. And kind of the theme of this is just stay with the NFC North on defense. These defenses are actually a lot of fun to watch. They're flying around. What about you? Who's your surprise of the week, Ryan?
Yeah, man, I'll just get right into it. I have Cedric Tillman for the Browns. You know, him and James Winston had a little connection there. They went, 2 touchdowns, 7 receptions for 99 yards. He put up 28.9 points in a PPR league, which is more than more points this week than he has put up the rest of the season. So it's good to see him have himself a week. Cedric Tillman. Cool.
He's special. Also, kind of a foreshadowing is that we've cut our trade for and trade away segment. But before we cut it, I actually had a trade for Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman is a special player, and I think he's going to be great on that Browns revamped offense. But with that being said, let's run into our rookie segment of the week. What do you have for us, Ryan?
Yeah, man. So I have Ricky Pearsall. This week, I gave him a shout-out last week as someone to watch out for. He had 4 receptions for 38 yards this week, and he had 1 run of 39 yards. San Francisco's, they're gonna utilize him. Debo had a really good week last week, so that was cool to see. But Ricky Pearsall, he's definitely going to get some more. His role is going to expand in that offense, so it's cool to see, especially watching him from college. And I liked Ricky Pearsall, and then I also had Lad McConkey down. Got me in a really tight game with votes here. Unfortunately, I am now 3-4.
Matt, tell the story.
5.
Why was it unfortunate?
It's because I lost. It's unfortunate. It's plain and simple. But Lad McConkey had 2 touchdowns for 6 receptions for 111 yards. That late end zone touchdown saved my butt and put me ahead until I wasn't. So no, I have those 2 young receivers down for my rookie.
Hold on, I gotta flex a little bit. A little bit of backstory is I put the last second kicker substitution in, and he was only up by 5 points. So Monday night, Greg Joseph saved me the week. Just so y'all are very clear about that. But
Andrew has the low offense.
The what?
I said you have the whole Buffalo offense. You have Josh Allen, you have Dalton Kincaid, and you have James Cook.
Hey, I'm big on those guys. Those guys are sick. But rookie segment, the Lad McConkey, I absolutely love watching him play. I think he's great. I love how, if you got him a few weeks ago, when Quentin Johnston had high value, you could have got Ladd pretty cheap, because it looked like Quentin was going to have a chance to be that true number one over there. But no, it's pretty clear that Ladd is his number one target up there. When you have Justin slinging the ball like that, I just feel like you're just going to... His upside is so high for Ladd McConkey. And I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I can see him having a long career as long as he stays healthy. Which, he's tiny, but I'm not too concerned about that at a wide receiver position. No, I think those are great. And going into our defensive segment, I said foreshadowing a little earlier, is Edgerton Cooper. So, Packer linebacker rookie out of Texas A&M. Am I right about that?
I believe he's from a Texas school.
Get fact checked real quick.
Yeah, Texas A&M. Good call.
Yeah, from Texas A&M, and he had one strip sack, which was electric, happened in my end zone that I was sitting at. 4 tackles, 1 for a loss, and 4 assisted tackles, for a total of 19 points, with 5 points being for a sack, depending on your league. And Edgerton Cooper had an amazing pass breakup. And when I tell you this, I couldn't believe that it was Cooper that made this play. He lined up, showed blitz, lined up on the line, and broke it with the slot receiver in a zone coverage. He ran 40 yards on the play to break it up. Like, Trevor thought this pass was in the bucket 40 yards down the field towards the end of the game, and he did a 40-yard sprint. This dude is athletic. This dude burst off the side to get the strip sack. I've never seen a dude, a linebacker, with such a wide arm span to tackle a quarterback like Trevor. Trevor does not run. You have the wide arms for these fast QBs, but this dude had a wide arm and just slapped the ball right out of Trevor's hand. It was a lot of fun to watch in person, and he's there. I think I've talked about him before. I'm very high on him. I think he's going to be the new... He's going to take Quay Walker's spot. He's going to be the new Mike in Green Bay eventually. And, yeah, man, I'm, like, super excited for this. Defense wins championships, and your linebackers that are making consistent tackles like Cooper does, but he can also have these amazing breakout plays to get you your points, is so valuable in the linebacker position. I know I talk a lot about linebackers, I talk a lot about corners, specifically slots and safeties, but your linebackers are just as important. You have to fill those linebacker spots, and you're looking for consistent tackles and athleticism. And Cooper checks all those boxes off. Yeah, man. That's my defensive segment. You have anything to add on, Ryan?
Yeah, man. Swinging strong. Maisie Smith.
Okay.
I'm playing. I didn't have
I was like, Ryan brought a defensive player to the table. I like it.
No, man. I was excited for this new segment for the week, and I didn't get anything down.
So, this new segment of the week is because Ryan likes to say that I fleece people in trades, which I don't think is true. I figured that we'd bring this into the podcast. It's a play on keep, trade, cut, but this is Dynasty football, so cutting players is maybe not the best thing to do, depending on what kind of league you're in. So, I named this segment Keep, Trade, Fleece. And we're going to do just offense this week, because I'm surprising Ryan. And next week we will add defensive line, linebackers, and safeties, and backfield, your DBs. This week we're just going to be QBs, wide receivers, running backs, these names everyone should know. The QBs might have some hot takes in it, so I'm going to save that for second. But let's start with the wide receivers. So we're talking about keep, trading, fleecing. What would you give up for these guys? What would be the tipping point for you to keep them? Like, how much does someone have to offer you to like get rid of your key players? My wide receivers are Deontay Johnson, Dwan Jennings, and Josh Downs.
That's a crazy. All right, so Deontay Johnson just got traded to Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Um, I would. I would keep Josh Downs because I think just overall in that offense, no matter who's at quarterback, I think he's a very versatile receiver and when they get the ball to him, he can make stuff happen. I'm trading away. I'm gonna try to just get as much value as I can out of Deontay. Um, Baltimore has a really potent offense. I think they were number one in scoring at the end of week 7. I didn't check up on them on week 8, but they're definitely ranked near the top in scoring. Um, so I would trade and try to get some value just based off that and kind of based off of his name, getting out of the Carolina system. I think anyone getting out of Carolina is automatically gonna add some brownie points to their name for any fantasy major or manager. And I'm just try to fleece Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, that's how you're gonna do it?
That's how I see it, man. What about
Not
you?
very high on Juwan Jennings in that one, eh?
No, not really. Don't see.
I
I don't know. What were you gonna say?
See, so my thought process for this is I feel like all three, if you're just talking about this season, is very similar thing. Juwan Jennings is, how old is Juwan Jennings? I know everyone else's age. Juwan Jennings is
26? 27?
He is 27 years old. So
Yeah.
you're looking at Juwan Jennings is 27. He's always kind of been this like backup wide receiver. You have Deontay Johnson, 28 years old, was potentially the guy in Carolina. Now he's in a room with, he's sharing looks with Lamar Jackson, which runs. I mean, I'm high on Lamar, he can sling it. But they have Zay Flowers. If they have the guy of the future, I think Deontay Johnson will be playing more of a role wide receiver in this one. I don't think he's going to get the premier looks. And then Josh Downs is 23. I think he has the highest upside with very questionable quarterback play / ownership. I mean, you're talking about the Colts besides AR have only signed 1 year veteran quarterbacks that have never worked out because they're always in a win now mode. So I think I'm going to try to fleece Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay is my least favorite out of these three, strictly because of his age and how many weapons Baltimore has, which especially right now I feel like people are very excited about that because he's in an explosive offense, so maybe explosive points in fantasy. And I think I'm going to keep Josh Downs because who knows what his future is. He's 23, and I'm going to try to trade away Juwan Jennings because the 49ers receiving room is literally all in different hospital beds for different reasons right now. So I think Juwan Jennings has the highest value right now, so I'm going to try to sell him high. And I don't think he's going to win me a championship. I don't think that's added depth that I need. But I think Juwan Jennings is definitely worth the second, third round pick right now, which I would be willing to take.
A second or third round pick right now.
I think a second, a high second. I think I would trade Juwan Jennings for a high second right now. Strictly because he's going to get looks. You're going to be trading him. He's going to score you points now.
I mean, he's going to get looks, but he's going to be like, what, wide receiver 3 in that offense? I mean, and then I would assume Kittle would probably get more touches than him. So, I mean, realistically, like, what are you looking at? Because, I mean, you have Debo, Pearsall. Pearsall's going to get more looks than Juwan. You have Kittle, and then where are they going to fit Juwan on there? And then, like,
Dude,
if you're not, I feel like one of the only downfalls, like, I'm a Brock Purdy guy, but like one of the downfalls that people consistently bring up is that Brock Purdy is a system QB, which I don't agree with. But for the sake of this argument, like meet in the middle, he's average. I just don't see Juwan getting really that much value moving forward. I don't think he has a decent enough name where people can look at that and see it and go forward with it. But that's me.
I agree with you. So right now he is wide receiver 29 on the year. Now that mainly comes from week 3 when he had 3 touchdowns. But he doesn't have those breakout games. He's always had that breakout game. And that is something that I think is worth a high second, low third to be able to get a player that has that boom potential, especially in a beat-up wide receiver room in a great system.
Gotcha. I'm going to bring up something funny before we transition to the next one. I was offered a trade proposition. Deontay Johnson for Josh Downs. Oh, not Josh Downs, Jordan Addison. Give me your thoughts on
that.
that.
Accept that. Accept that instantly. Is that still live?
Yeah.
Who sent that to you?
I forget his name. It's Joseph.
Dude, accept that.
I'm going to leave it up. Joseph, if you're listening to this right now, and you hear me talking right now, I'll accept it. Otherwise, I'm not accepting it.
A little bit of a
incentive to watch.
And talk about a fleece. You might fleece Deontay Johnson after that. So
Yeah.
the next one I have for today are QBs. This one is a very I don't know what I'm doing with these 3 QBs. It's going to bring up a very interesting conversation. I think it can get kind of heated into this conversation. But you ready for this one? So we know AR. I foreshadowed enough. Anthony Richardson is part of these 3, right?
Yeah.
So keep trade fleece Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson.
Dude, that's a nightmare rotation. Man, I guess looking at there, I'm keeping Justin Fields. I know he's number 2 right now behind Russell Wilson. I just think athletically gifted, just a pure quarterback in this position. I think Justin Fields probably holds the best positioning out of all 3. I'm trading away Deshaun Watson. Like, people are going to feel how they will about this. People are going to say what they want. That's fine. Is he a good person? Objectively, no. He's one of the worst people. But when he has it, he has it. I don't think we've seen it recently. I think, like Carolina, Cleveland is just not a place where right now athletes are playing good ball. I don't think Cleveland's very kind to anyone who goes there historically. It's just not the best spot, especially over the last 20-some years. Try to get some value out of him if I had him. But moving forward, I am fleecing AR. I think the issue with AR, and I know this is polarizing, he's a fraud. I think he has great athletic ability, and people always look to see the home run play out of him, and they do see it every now and then. You'll see him when he's falling back, throwing off of not even like just an insane ball, and it gets caught in the back of the end zone and gets placed on a dime. But when you look at him, he's just it's a lot of lackluster quarterback play, and that's why I'm pleased, is because he still has that name.
So the way that I have this is I am keeping Anthony Richardson. I am trading away Justin Fields, and I am trying to fleece Deshaun Watson. And I say trying to fleece Deshaun Watson because I really feel like Deshaun Watson, you're just not, it's just whatever all you can get from him is better than nothing. So I'll run it through. So Deshaun Watson is on a massive contract, but it's very obvious, especially seeing Jameis in this offense, that Deshaun Watson just isn't the quarterback. I think they've been knowing this, but they're in such a dilemma with his contract that it's a problem. And that being said, he's going to be a starting quarterback next year. Or they're going to eat a lot of cap. I think that that's something that you could hold in a trade negotiation of a fleece to be able to get some value for him, because I don't think he's going to win you a championship. So whatever you can get out of him is going to be a fleece, in my opinion. If that's a player, if that's some depth on your team, if that's some picks, it's up to the person you're trying to trade, because I feel like there's not a lot of buyers for Deshaun Watson right now. I'm trading Justin Fields because he's a little later in his career. Never really had a good system to learn in with the Bears, like we talked about with the Browns and Carolina. The Bears are another place that just doesn't have that leadership to be able to develop players. And we've seen it time in and time out. This isn't necessarily an Eberflus thing. Like, we've seen with these three organizations that they can't develop talent. They have to buy talent, or they have to get super lucky with someone out of college. But if they're not polished out of college, they cannot polish them in those organizations. That's probably due to ownership. Brian Poles does great fleecing Carolina, but that's about it. That's not something to hang your hat on for a Super Bowl. And I am keeping Anthony Richardson. So the reason that I'm keeping Anthony Richardson is the fact that his coach didn't tell him the reason for benching him. His coach said that they can win with Joe Flacco, and guess what? They haven't won with Joe Flacco this year. AR has a better record than Joe Flacco this year because AR's been injured. AR's only had 10 games in the NFL, which is a problem because he is injury prone. But we've seen quarterbacks condition themselves. Look at MVP Lamar Jackson. He put on weight because he hurt himself. Like, this is very same archetype of a runner and thrower, and he put on weight to protect himself. You look at quarterbacks like Josh Allen, awful, cannot protect the football, and he's thrown one pick this season. I never thought I would say that in my life. Coming out of college, I had Anthony Richardson as my number one quarterback out of his draft class. And maybe this is me hanging my high hat on that. But my biggest gripe with him out of college is that he only had one ball to throw. And in the 10 games that he's had in the NFL, he has shown that he has more than that one throw. And if you look at the amount of drops, he's had 3 drop touchdowns in this last game alone. Like, in the receiver's hands, ball movement, and they couldn't secure it with the slap. And if they catch those balls, he's a starter next week. There's no doubt in my mind that he's a starter if the receivers did their job. It's crazy to me to think that AR's career is done when there's no accountability in the Colts organization as a whole. They need a gut. If they don't make the playoffs this year, they got a gut. I haven't taken this organization seriously since Andrew Luck. They've hired Jeff Saturday as an interim head coach. There's no way that you can keep this one. They've hired Matt Ryan. They've hired Nick Foles to be their QB. There's no way that I can take them seriously of the talent at the QB position. And I am excited to see what Anthony Richardson's future holds. And I think there's a lot up in the air, but I think I'm willing to keep him because I still think that he has insane amount of upside to be able to just dish him right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to believe what you want to believe. Not to keep us tied up on this and to keep you rolling in the segment. I'll just say,
please go ahead.
Your argument for the injury-prone quarterbacks putting on weight. I mean, how much does AR weigh right now? We're like 250 something. He
does weigh 250.
It's not for him. It's not a weight thing. It's not a muscle thing. It's just it's a him thing. He's a him thing. That's the story of his whole career. It's a him thing, and not in the good way where you're looking like, he's him. Like, no, he could be him, but he will never be. Yeah.
I definitely think so. He weighs 245 right now.
5 pounds off.
Which is on the heavier side. I do agree with you. I mean, him putting on weight is not going to let him be as mobile as he can. Injuries are a concern, but I mean, injuries are a concern with Joe Burrow, and it happens every year, but we still draft him, and he's still a great quarterback. I don't know. I'm keeping Anthony Richardson because I think that his upside is insane in the future, and I would love everyone to be able to go back to this episode and comment about how right I was in a year when the off season's happening and they change coaching staff and AR's starting quarterback and AR beats Stroud for the division next year. So
See, you said you'd like because you know it'll never happen.
I said I would like.
Because it won't happen.
That's not the reason you say that. I just want people to gratitude me when they see that I was right.
No.
Next segment, because I know how this is going to end, so we're going to stop this conversation right now and do running backs now. So our running backs are Achane, Bucky Irving, and Jordan Mason. Keep, trade, fleece.
You have some really good threesomes of running back. Pause. You're making really
Dude,
good. You're making
dead
good.
ass.
Yeah.
I thought of this, adding this to the podcast an hour ago,
Those are solid.
and
So,
we put it up.
actually I had Bucky Irving and Rashad. I had Rashad White on my trade away. So I'll just use the same reasoning. I think Bucky Irving's going to take over the Tampa Bay backfield. I think I've said that before. Well, I said originally it was going to be potentially a three-headed monster, but really watching over the last couple of weeks, Bucky's really showing out. And he's
So
performed-
you should go back to one of our old podcasts and comment that I was right. Because that's exactly what I said. When we had that conversation, you were like, no, it's going to be a shared backfield. I was like, no, I think it's his backfield.
I have another take to come in, so hold on. Roll with me. But no, I like Bucky Irving. He had career highs in receptions, yards after catch, and career high in targets this last week. I think the percentage is still split more in Rashad White's favor, but Bucky Irving's out there making plays. He's doing a great job. The only thing that I would say to go against the Bucky Irving take or keep was that Todd Bowles said earlier this week, when asked about Rashad White, Bucky Irving, and why Rashad White stayed in near the end of the game. Todd Bowles said that Rashad White is one of the few backs that has all three things that he looks for in a running back. It is size, pass blockability, and movement out of the backfield, and just in general, like agility. And he said Rashad White has all three of those, and he sees him as their reliable back and the guy that they want to leave in long term. That leads me to think that they see Bucky Irving as a guy that you can bring in, give him some juice when they need it, but definitely not a guy that could be the starter this year, based off that Todd Bowles quote. The actions speak louder than words. 100%. I do think Bucky Irving does take over that spot, but that little segment from Todd Bowles earlier this week, definitely some food for thought on that topic.
I wasn't aware of that.
he
That's
plays.
good to know.
What's up?
I didn't know about that. That's good to know.
Yeah, man. After that, it was what we had: Jordan Mason and
Achane.
I'm trading Achane. The reason being, to his game back in the offense he was back in last week. Does he need a guardian cap? Yes. Does he need Achane? Also, yes. And that is why I think you need to trade him. That offense just flows better, and I think we'll see that definitely moving forward down the season with Tua in there. Achane definitely has a higher ceiling with Tua in the offense, but because of Tua's I don't want to call him unreliable, but kind of similar to AR. AR is injury prone, Tua's concussion prone. I think that variability is it's scary for me, but he still has a solid name. That Miami offense, I would try to get him and try to get some fair value out of that. So I do think that is a guy that a lot of people would probably trade for. And then I would fleece Jordan Mason. He's filling in for. Hold on. Let me pull up some stats.
Why do you do that? I'll go. So I've actually agreed with you this whole time. So Bucky Irving, I would keep. I'm very high on Bucky Irving. Very similar thing, and the quote you gave from Todd is great. in backing that idea up. Achan, I'm trading him not because of Tua, but I'm scared because he's been injured both last year and he has an injury that he's been dealing with this year, that I don't think he's a solid running back that you can rely on. And when it comes down the stretch, when you're trying to win games to make the playoffs, and you're trying to win playoff games, I don't think that Achan is the person you want to be relying on. Forget Tua's health, but you also have to do that. When Tua is not on the field, Achan does not produce. He is Tua's safety blanket, which is great for fantasy. But I think you can get a high value for Achan. I think I'm trading away Achan as well. And yeah, I'd love to hear what you had to say about Jordan Mason, and then I'll put my 2 cents.
Yeah, man, I mean, we don't know when C-Mac's coming back. We don't know his production, so that's all up in the air. But I think that kind of counts against that in general. And then you have Isaac Guerrero, that guy's name.
Yeah.
I definitely see him picking up more totes in the backfield. You had John Gruden, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, say it made him feel really nicey. And you just love to see that, man.
Dude,
side note,
whoever gave John Gruden TikTok shouldn't have done that.
Dude, I love it, dude. Got me feeling nicey. It has me feeling nice.
Dude does not need to be on a TikTok, man.
But no, I think Isaac Guerrero definitely kind of handcuffs Jordan a little bit more as the season goes on, and then when C-Mac comes back, when he comes back, I think that's definitely going to lower Jordan Mason's value extremely with that backfield and that offense in general. So those are my takes on keep, trade, and fleece.
Yeah, I mean, very similar. So I'm trying to fleece Jordan Mason because I feel like his value is high now. When it comes to your playoff time, I don't think it's going to be there. I think C-Mac is back. He's been cleared to do non-contact practicing. Right now, we still don't know when he will be back into the full lineup. The team's currently on a bye week, and C-Mac is conditioning and training right now. So we'll see what holds on into the future, but when it comes down to the stretch, Jordan Mason's not going to be that guy. And I think you trade him now while his value's high. Fleece him now while his value's high. Alright, now it's time for our favorite segment here on Dynasty Depot, where defense matters, but it's been a very offensive heavy day. And I don't want you, we're going to do this a little different, because I know what your hot take is, or your oh so serious take is, and I know what my oh so serious take is. So I just want you to put in a single sentence what your oh so serious take is, and then I'm going to do it, and then let's have a friendly little debate. It's election week. Let's debate it live. Not live, but let's debate it on Dynasty Depot here. But just give me a little one-liner for your oh-so-serious take of the week.
Anthony Richardson is buns.
My oh-so-serious is AR-15 is the next Josh Allen.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So, let's go with it. So you're saying why I don't understand, and we've talked about this multiple times. You said that Anthony Richardson only throws one pass. But when you watch the film, he clearly doesn't have just one pass. Yes, historically when he played at UF, he did. And that's part of the job of NFL is to teach players this stuff. This is skills that he's gathered over the time. And I know you were talking, you're going to pull up high school stats and stuff. I hope that he has not been the same person since high school, because a high school quarterback can't make the NFL. When he played at UF, I feel like he only had one ball. But looking at his 22, the film this year, it does not look like he has one pass. So I want to hear your side of this, because I know that's one of your largest arguments about AR-15.
Awesome, guys. So I appreciate you opening the floor to me for this segment. So I want to paint you guys a picture. It's going to be a little minute to get there. I want you to stick with me. So, high school, Anthony Richardson. He was 278 for 523 on completions and attempts, getting him to 53% completion rating. He threw 19 interceptions, played in 32 games, threw for 4,633 yards and 37 touchdowns. Looking at that, you see, hey, this guy's raw, there's a lot of talent, let's try to develop him. He goes to UF. He goes for 215 for 393, and increases his completion percentage by 1 point to 54%. That 50 number is key, with 15 interceptions for 3,105 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 24 games played. Now, there's an argument that he didn't really start for more than a season and a half, and I would understand that, but we're going to pivot to the NFL real quick. So far, in 10 games played, he is 109 for 217 for 8 interceptions. He has thrown for 1,535 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a 50% passing or completion percentage. Now, that 50% number remains huge because not only did it plague him through high school, college, and the NFL, you get to his 20 yards and under from last season, 32 for 58 or 55% completion. 20 yards and under are need to happen. You throw a deep ball to let's have a big play. Let's say you saw something you want to attack. Or let's say, hey, let's back safeties up, right? 20 yards and under is where you make your bread and butter. You're not throwing it deep in college because you're in college. You're not throwing it deep. It's not a college game. There's so many variables in the college game that don't translate to the NFL, right? You have guys who are going to be selling insurance within a couple years after graduating. I am one of those. These NFL guys, this is their career. Everyone is really good. Taking that, we have a poor accuracy issue with Anthony Richardson. Has plagued him his whole football career, from my knowledge, high school, college, NFL. His release is way too early, and that's why I was able to get that ball all the way up in the freaking air. He has a cannon for an arm, but he's just too early on his release sometimes, and that plagues him. That's an issue. That's why it sails more often than not. Injury prone, our argument, I wasn't even going to bring that up, but yeah, I mean, he gets hurt. He's a big guy, he gets hurt, he likes to run the ball. I think if the Colts let him play the way he plays, focus more on his running ability, then maybe it changes. But I don't think that happens. I don't think any NFL system is going to be extremely conducive for AR. He wants to be a pocket passer. Everyone wants to see that. He's like Joe Milton. He's like a more athletic Joe Milton. And that's why I just don't think he'll succeed. But I'll let you go.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. I don't feel like he plays the game that he wants to play. I think he also hasn't been given the development to play. Everyone knew coming out of last year's draft that AR was going to be a project no matter where he went. And the fact that the Colts took him at number 4 overall, based off of raw talent, he has not been able to sit behind someone, healthily sit behind someone, where he can take the reps, like actually take the reps, walk through the motions, learn from someone while actively participating. And I think that we've seen in the NFL now of how important that is for a quarterback development. You're looking at Patrick Mahomes, you're looking at Jordan Love, you're looking at Drake May. He sat down for a half a season, healthy, took the reps alongside his starting QB. And now you see him turn this offensive line that looks like complete poop and now just looks like poop because he has a quarterback that can throw it and is competent. Like, I think it's one of those things that he was set up for disaster, and I think the coach right now, with the way that he didn't even tell his teammates, learned about it through social media. Like, this was a coach that made this decision, went to a press conference, announced it there before he told his team that their starting quarterback is going to be changing. Your quarterback's supposed to be the leader of your locker room. I don't know what AR's locker room presence is. There's not much on the Colts because the organization is a mess. But there's no way that he was set up for success. And deep down, I think that the coach knows that he made that mistake. I think Joe Flacco, as a pocket passer, which is what they want Anthony Richardson to be, what he wants to be, is a good person to learn from. And I saw a clip of him practicing today, and he is dialed. AR-15 has taken this with his chin high, He's taking this as a learning experience, and I am excited to see what comes from this. No, go ahead.
So happy you brought that up. So if you go back to his, I believe it was his sophomore year at UF, very similar situation. There was quarterback controversy, except AR was on the opposite side of this. Emory Jones was a starter. There were some issues with Emory Jones. The fans really didn't like what was happening, and they were getting on Dan Mullen. So Dan Mullen, it felt like in a knee-jerk reaction, like a screw you to the fans, started AR against Georgia. I think that was one of the worst things he could have done, especially, I believe, in that 2021 Georgia defense. One of the better defenses that had. And I think that ruined his development. And it wasn't like he didn't start in previous games. I believe he started in the USF game earlier that year. So there was kind of like a quarterback battle in a way, where Anthony would come in, he'd do a lot of great things, played in the LSU game that year. So it wasn't like he was short of opportunities, but he was also dialed in there. He's a competitor. There's no argument there, but he just can't get it done. He proved that at UF when he had a couple games starting off and on. Comes in next year. Emory Jones is gone, completely new coach. A coach designed who loves RPOs, Billy Napier, gave AR that opportunity, and yeah, he does hit the home run. But I can't tell you how many times I sat at the screen yelling, watching TV or at the games, because he can't complete the short passes. Defenses know that. Defenses know that. And that's why he won't succeed at the NFL, is because the same issues that have plagued him, high school and college, are plaguing him in the NFL. And it's just as simple as that. The fact that 50 range just sticks around him, and sure, you could look at the NFL and say it's not a big enough sample size, 10 games. There's consistency behind that number. He has stayed the same person all throughout. Does he change? Of course. Does he become more acclimated to the game? Does he make better reads, better throws? That comes with development. I'm not saying that he hasn't become a better quarterback, but his numbers consistently stay the same. There's a trend.
I agree with the trend. I think it's one of those things though that when I look at, so my thing that I have a hard time with is there's only going to be accountability for the quarterback in this situation. When you're talking about his Florida coach is no longer the coach of Florida. Like, was not set up for success at Florida. Like, there's a coaching staff thing that... Is Dan Mullen still there? No.
No.
Yeah. Like, his coach at Florida was fired. His coach in the NFL is now on the hot seat. He's never been in a system to succeed. Yes, he went to Florida. Yes, he has the prestige of going to Florida. But if this dude sits behind a Super Bowl winning quarterback like Joe Flacco, a while ago at this point, but if he sits behind someone and is able to develop, gets new coaching, like at Justin Fields, we would be having a very similar conversation about Justin Fields. Didn't have enough reps in college, didn't have enough reps in the NFL. A little bit different, but same idea. Didn't have that experience. He's not going to make it in the NFL. He goes to the Steelers, which is a very competent coaching job. Sorry, not the Giants, the Steelers. In Pittsburgh, it's crazy because Mike Tomlin can turn a bunch of bums into a decent football team, where you have people like Carolina that have stars and they can't do anything with the stars.
Yeah.
So when you put them into a coaching system that actually coaches, when you have the talent to coach, he's going to look good. If Justin isn't the future in Pittsburgh, he's going to have a starting role, maybe similar to like the Sam Darnold thing where he's tossed around the NFL, which would be unfortunate for him. But he's going to be able to start football games and win you games. Super Bowl, maybe not. Win you games, though. And I feel like AR is in the same boat, where if he gets the right coaching staff, I think it's going to be a completely different thing. And I don't think that their current coach, I don't know what his name is right now, is going to be there very long. And it's going to be a new regime, and AR can take hold of that.
Yes. We will agree to disagree.
We will agree to disagree. So with that, that wraps up Dynasty Depot, guys. Thank you guys for listening, whether it was in the car or you guys are chilling out on the couch. And here at Dynasty Depot, defense does matter. I know this is a very heavy offensive podcast, but defense does matter. Shout out our only defensive player with Cooper. And yeah, guys, follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, as Dynasty Depot. And maybe we'll have the Instagram back up soon. So it'll be fun. This will be our first video recorded podcast up on the YouTube in a while. And yeah, keep an eye out for those shorts. And we look forward to engaging with you guys. So, peace.
Later.